What's good, everybody? Thank you so much for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you do me a favor, hit that rate, subscribe, share button, hit that like button, hit the thumbs up. Let's make it do what it gotta do, right? Let's make it do what it gotta do. So thank you so much for checking out this shoe. So I got a request, and I really appreciate the request because it let me know what you guys want to talk about. I do have a video to release on self-improvement, which is really what I want this channel to be. But if you guys ask questions, particularly about relationships, try to get my opinion, I'll give it to you. But I do have a video to release about that. I'm going to be doing a live on this coming Sunday, August 4th. So depending on when you watch this, if you have not watched my lives, go over to the live section and make sure that you either sign up for it, get notified to watch it live, or go back and watch the replay. But if you're going to catch it live, or we'll be taking a bunch of requests, we'll probably watch a couple of videos, and then I'll do some question and answer sessions. So I like doing that. I'd like to continue on with that. I think that's a good way to get things done. All right, so let's get into the topic here. So I got a request from two different people, similar subjects, right? So one was asking, I'll put on the screen here, I'm not exactly sure which one it is, but one was about guys who want to continue to entertain different ladies. And another one asked almost the same question, if the guy's financially stable, why does he occupy their time with different ladies, right? So it's really the same kind of question. So we're going to take it from the point of view of a guy who has got it going on, but continues to entertain numerous ladies, right? More than one woman. And this was a problem that my daughter often tells me, right? The guy knows he has it going on, he's got it together, he's got a good job, he's whatever, tall, dark, and handsome, all the other qualifications that modern ladies are asking for. He refuses to settle down and continues to spend his time with other individuals. I always have lint in my cap here. So this is really unpopular. This is really bad. So I have some kind of pimple over here. I was watching a video the other day. I don't have anything hanging on my nose. It's a pimple. So let's get back to it. Why did I do that? Well, first you got to understand that you are that men. I know we're living in a modern time when they want to believe that men and women aren't the same, but men and women are not. They want to believe that men and women are the same. Men and women are not the same. We're definitely different creatures, and you have to understand what drives and motivates men. And men have a penis, balls, and out of that, flows the seeds of life, and it is their prerogative. Prerogative is probably the wrong word. It's their desire, it's their proclivity, it's what they like to do, want to do, is to spread their seeds, right? You see all these trees behind me and stuff, right? They all produce enough pollen and I'm not a one to misspeak, but whatever it is that they do to reproduce. And guys are the same way. They're constantly thinking to reproduce. They're constantly thinking about reproduction. We tend to disassociate sex from reproduction, particularly now, right? But sex is reproduction. That horniness that you feel is really your body saying, I want to reproduce. That's what it's saying. It's time to reproduce. And when you see a person that you're attracted to, whether it's big butt, big breasts, or you see a guy who's got the DNA that you want, he's tall, dark, handsome, got it going on, he's got a beautiful smile, teeth, whatever you're looking at, and you say, man, I really want to sleep with him or get to know him, however you say it. Your body is saying, I want to reproduce with him because he has the qualities I want. And I see the quality, and I see this woman over here who has the qualities of someone who's going to give me good children. She's got nice wide hips, she's good for birthing, she's got ample breasts so she can breastfeed. That's what you're looking at. That's what a guy's looking at. So a guy who has now all through human history, and this is a good segue because I was doing some research about this, right? So all through human history, the strongest, most viable guys, they say 40%. I haven't read this study yet, but they say 40. I'm just quoting what I heard other people say. 40% of men throughout all of history have ever reproduced. There's probably some truth to that, because you think about the guys who grew up, maybe they turned 13, 14, 15, they got drafted into some war, got killed in some war, they didn't have the chance to do it, or they weren't tall enough, or they were somehow messed up physically where they couldn't do it, or they got killed, bit by a snake, or whatever, right? They just couldn't do it. So, and again, throughout all the human history, if you were not the top tier man, the village leader, the village great hunter, nobody was looking at you. Nobody was looking at you. And in fact, what happened is some of the results of the different I don't want to call them civil wars, but the revolutions that have happened were an attempt to stop the top people from getting all the play and action, financially, and then of course sexually. That was really what it was about. The middle guys who you fight to fight your war, the middle and lower classes who you want to fight your wars, et cetera, didn't get anything. So what did you have to promise these guys? If we overthrow these kings and queens and these lords, and et cetera, how do we get them to participate? How do we get them to participate in the structure that we're going to build up? Right? How do you get men from England and from Scotland and from Wales and Ireland to come over here to the U.S., not to the U.S., but to the colonies that were under British control? How do you get them to come over here, right? Give up everything, right? Right? Particularly since many of them were prisoners and all this, right? Didn't have anything. Like they gave them land. Okay, you go over there, you help keep the slaves in line, you help clear out the natives, and we'll give you land. And with that land, what are you going to get? You're going to get some woman. You'll get a woman. You'll get a woman, and you'll be able to create a family. And that system sort of worked. It was obviously refined throughout the years until the 1970s. No fault divorce and all that, right? So that's what kind of broke the system, and and so now we're almost back to where we were prehistorically. Right? Because now the top chads physically are getting all the action because ladies are looking at something very, very atavistic, right? So they're kind of, not all. I don't want to have to address this all the time. I'm not talking about every single woman on the planet or every single woman in the United States, but this is a trend, and this is why men, if you've been paying attention, are going their own way, going MGTOW, going monk, becoming passport bros, leaving this system because there is nothing for them to fight for. I have nothing. I can't get a woman. There no jobs, or not jobs that don't pay high enough, and the cost of me putting out all this to go to college and get a trade and all this other stuff is not worth the reward at the end, right? The juice, quote unquote, is not worth the squeeze. This is a very, very drastic simplification, and there is a bunch of literature on this if you want to read about it. I'm making the connection to what was going on in the past, but the connection about what I talked about, men not quitting societies and all that, it's all in the literature. And finally, academics are starting to take a look at this and say, hey, you know what? There's a problem here. There's a problem here when we don't have men who want to fill the police ranks, military ranks, and job ranks, right? Who wants to dig the ditches? Who wants to do whatever? Ergo, you have a bunch of people who are, crossing the border, and that's why they're giving these guys asylum in New York City and Chicago and stuff, right? This is why they're doing it. Right, to all these illegal aliens or undocumented people, whatever they want to call them. I said it before, I'll say it again. There is no plan to deal with them. There is no plan. They have driven down wages so much that it's not worth it to go to work, right? Okay, so fast forward to what we're dealing with today. This is why you get a top tier man, even before today, right? This was, infidelity and the lack of strict monogamy has always been a problem. It's always been a problem. Always been a problem. And if you know this, as far as biblically, it's always been a problem. In fact, before the so-called change in the New Testament, it was common for people to have, again, the rich rancher who had a bunch of sheep and cattle and stuff, he had all the women. 10 women and all this kind of crazy stuff, right? So that's what was going on. So that's what's going on. So when you get a guy taking everything I just said, when you get a guy who's got it going on, who's got everything that you're looking for in a guy, and he's got everything you're looking for in a guy, he is gonna have everything that everybody else is gonna want in a guy. And no matter what you are told, there's no woman who can satisfy a man sexually. I'll let that marinate and sit in. You just can't. You just can't. We are always going to be looking for the next conquer. Always going to be looking for the next conquer. I remember one time, my ex, she got mad at me. She got mad at me because she'd taken a psychology class, and they had told her this, or psychology or anatomy class or something like that. So she comes home and she's mad. She came home and she's mad at me because we had gotten intimate, right? And I'm like, all right. She wanted to do it again. I'm just gonna be honest. She wanted to do it again. I'm like, oh man, you gotta give me a minute, okay? Give me a minute. I'm younger. I was able to do it, but just okay, give me a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, or She's like, but if I walked another woman, and this is exactly what she said, almost word for word. But if I walked another woman in here, you get it right up immediately. Where'd you learn this at? We talked about this in school, this, that, and the other. So she's mad. Coincidentally, this is the problem with porn. This is the problem with porn. With porn, I probably shouldn't keep saying that. I want this to be monetized. This is the problem with corn. Corn hijacks the brain and says, you watch a movie, and then you get the guy finishes whatever, cleans up, hopefully, cleans up, then he can go out there, he can put on another video with another woman and rise to the occasion because it's another woman. And so your body, your brain is telling you it's another person, it's a different person, you got to reproduce with this person. And you can keep on going like that. And then eventually your brain gets used to watching different people, and you can't do it in real life anymore. It's a whole big science behind that. So, man, I really hope I'm answering the question here. So, where am I going to park at? I want you guys to be able to see me. This is fine. So to a guy who is got it going on and doing his best and becoming the best version of himself and all this stuff, and he's physically attractive. So he's physically and financially attractive to the ladies. It is what it is. It is what it is. And so you can either understand this or you cannot understand it. Now, the other part of understanding it is you have to make a decision. Just like I talked about in the boundaries video, you have to make a decision. Either you're going to be part of his roster or you're not going to be part of his roster. That's the way that it is. I mean, I don't know what else to say, and there's no other way to sugarcoat it. Either you're going to be down with that or you're not. So is this true for every single man that they're going to be indulge in infidelity and always have multiple women? Of course not. No, that's not true. And I think that was, I'm not sure, but I think that was part of the practice behind divorces, right? Be faithful to your wife, otherwise you're going to pay her a bunch of alimony. Well, then, if that was the case, I'm just going to stay with my woman. I won't step out and cheat. But then, other forces came along, no fault divorce, and that kind of kicked that out because, okay, I can still take the half of this man's stuff, even if there's no fault. Okay. So that's a discussion for another day. But I think that in today's time, women are operating that same way. And listen, I think throughout history, there's always been infidelity, right? There's always been a 30% or so of men historically who have raised other people's children. I think that now we have DNA tests. We know it now, right? Before we were kind of unsure about that, and we had blood tests, but now with DNA, we're very much sure, and all, the Maury Povich show and all these different studies that have been done. I think it's as high as 50% in Jamaica, right? All this different stuff. We know that women are out there stepping around, sleeping out, and those are the ones that get caught, right? If it's 30% who have raising other people's children, depending on where you are and where the study is. Those are just the ones that got caught. How many times did you sleep with somebody and not get pregnant, right? So this is something that is interesting. And I can remember one time I'd gone to this. I don't want to tell too much because everyone's you don't know. So I had gone to a football game, right? And so I went with a couple friends, and I knew that they were messing around. It was a couple of guy friends, and they had brought some ladies, and I knew that they were messing around with these ladies, and I'm like, and one of them, we had a good time in the game and stuff. And so then we leave. And so like my boy calls me up the next day. He's like, "Yo, man, remember this girl, this, that, and the other?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, "Oh, she want to get your number." I'm like, "Dude, don't get." I was actually repulsed because I knew that everybody else, was treating her like a doorknob. I knew it. And I'm like, listen, to me, I don't want to be a part of anybody else's roster. I just didn't like that. It repulses me to be a part of somebody else's roster. But this is the way that people are operating. This is the way that it is, what's going on. So to a financially stable guy, why does he entertain other women or spend time with a lot of other women? It's because he can. It's because he likes it. He's not devoting himself to anything else as far as self-improvement, not reading. I mean, listen, when I'm single, right? I got a lot of reading done. I get my podcast done. I get a lot more video game time in. I work out more. I actually lose weight. They say all this. People get fat and all the kind of. Listen, I lose weight. I eat better. I eat right. I eat better because I'm at all in restaurants and stuff. So a guy who's always doing that. I mean, this is what he's doing. This is what he's doing. He's entertaining other people. Maybe he does have some self-esteem issues as far as not wanting to be alone, always needing validation. Maybe there is some of that going on there, needing validation from ladies, knowing that I can pull these women, I can spend time with these women, right? A lot of times, in particular, in the black community, and this is something else we got to address, is that we get our validation, particularly as men, not in the things that we have accomplished, but in the amount of women that we sleep with. So we can be excelling through the corporate ladder, and we can be doing a lot of things, and those things should in and of themselves be sufficient. But if after that you can't ever be alone with your own thoughts, you can ever go home and watch TV, you don't have a hobby, you don't ever whatever, and you always got to be up in some woman's face. I mean, there's a little bit of that going on there as far as the psychology of it is you got to deal with your own abandonment issues or issues of being alone or hearing your own hear with your own thoughts and all that kind of stuff. There's a little bit of that going on there too. So you gotta consider all that type of stuff. So those are the experiences that I know when people are the guys that I know are always running around. And listen, it's fun at first. Let me tell you this, man. It's fun at first, and it's fun for a time anyway. It's fun for a time. I should say it that way. It's fun for a time. There's something in my eye here. It's fun for a time, but after a while, you can't keep people's names straight. You don't remember. I don't remember who I took to the movies. Who did I go golfing with? Where did we went bungee jumping? I don't remember. Right? I don't remember. I can't remember who people are. Right? I had to put people's phone. Put people. I always put people's pictures on my phone because I'm like, Angie. Who the heck is Angie? Right? Who's calling me? like I got to see your picture. So I had to chill out with all that. So there is, let me sum this up. There is some psychology that goes on with as far as abandonment issues. You always gotta you feel like you gotta or a man has to be flexing and flossing and showing off what he has instead of being with one person. I think there is a sign of maturity that says, man, okay, I want one person who's going to be my ace, who's going to be somebody who's my ride or die and all that kind of stuff, who I can depend on. I personally want that. I don't want to be whatever's whatever. I don't want that, but but some guys do. And you know, and if you're a young guy, man, if you're a young successful guy, as my daughter said, and I've heard other people say, you got the cream of the crop, and you're gonna exercise your options, as Kevin Samuels used to say. You're gonna exercise your options. So, and you as a woman have to determine if you where you want to fit in at. If you're part of it. And I think that a lot of women are being more okay with that. I think a lot of women, particularly because as I had Sister Anita on the show, said that they're overlooking these guys. They're overlooking the blue collar guys, and so they'd rather be the side piece of a high value so-called man, or a high earning man, financially stable, really over the top, or who's got the physical presence, that you'd rather be a side piece of him and see him on Wednesdays and Fridays than have your own at home. It's up to you. It's up to you. And again, I that's why I really do appreciate Sister Nita, because she says you're the gatekeepers, right? This a lot of this dating scene is the fault of women. Not all women, but it's the fault of women. When you enter into situationships and agree to be somebody's side piece, and agree not to have marriage, and agree to just sleep around and get baby deletions, or this is what you get. You get a free market. You get a free market where the best one's gonna excel, and everybody wants that 1% man, that 5%, that top 1% man. Everybody wants them. So you're either gonna have to share them, or you're going to have to, quote unquote, date down, or settle for somebody else. And nobody wants to settle. Why should you settle? You got a good job, good career, good education. Why should you settle? I want this guy over here. Okay, then clear out your schedule and check your calendar to see when you can see him again. And don't wonder why he's ghosting you, or he's taking 2 days to text you back. All right. It's up to, the ball is in your court. You guys created this, right? I told you what the fix was to get men in line. The fix was, we're going to get you land. You're going to give you a job. We're going to give you land. We're going to make everything good for you. And what did men do with that? They created families. Now they've done the same thing. We've given the women. We've given the ladies the freedom, the financial and physical freedom that they wanted, and now we got this going on. You can't have it both ways. Can't have it. I know this is unpopular. I know this hurts. I know someone will get mad at this, but you can just look outside the window, or check dating app stats and see who gets swiped on and who doesn't get swiped on. You can look at the marriage rates. You can look at the divorce rates. It's the ladies who are divorced, and it's ladies who are leaving the families. Generally. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. I can't wait to read this comment section on this one. All right. Much love and peace. I got to work out.